morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a Kickstarter. Go to it here. That I don't know if I have mentioned in any previous episode that I have funded and actually went for the physical book called Broken Weave by Cubicle 7 Games. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of it here because I have the PDF and I was reading through it today because I actually forgot all about it. And pretty excited to show you what it's all about. So, in my planning and prep for this episode, I wanted to start with this little screen right here. I feel like there's probably a good overlap between role-playing game fans and anime fans. They're obviously two separate things, but I think there's overlap. I think a lot of anime fans obviously watch them for the stories, and Dungeons and Dragons are all about creating a story. And one of my favorites is called Berserk. The original anime, they've had some, redos, reimaginations of it, and I think you can't beat the original. There are definitely some episodes where it is just weird. And when I first found it, I was in college. I think at the Family Video, they had the whole series. And the first episode is so cool. Follows this character whose name is Guts. Just think about that. And pretty violent first episode. And it just got me hooked. And then, I don't know, like 90% of the season is relatively tame. And then it just flicks a switch. And there's this event called, I forget, the Horizon, the Eclipse. Oh, probably, no, the opposite. The Eclipse. And things just go sideways. And it is pretty violent, pretty intense. And there has been other anime. Dragon Ball Z is probably my gateway, if not the original Dragon Ball, which I still watch. I still think it's one of the best pieces of anime cartoon out there. Obviously, there are episodes that drag, probably much like this intro, just goes on and on. But yeah, so going through this list, Berserk is on here. I haven't seen many of these, but knowing that they are on this list of the best, bloodiest anime, Berserk being number one on the list. I don't know if these are by rank or just it's just a list, but Claymore, I've seen that. That's very good. I don't know if Death Note is on here. If Death Note is considered bloody, it's been so long since I've seen it. But the genre, Attack on Titan for sure. The genre of this kind of reminded me of the Broken Weave. Berserk mostly probably after the Eclipse. Reminded me of Broken Weave. Of it's like things have just gone sideways. It is not your run-of-the-mill fantasy adventure. It is, it's like this now. And just the way my brain works, completely not relevant to anything I've talked about other than anime. I think it popped up on my Prime list that you should check out GTO. Great Teacher Onizuka. And I don't know if there's an ounce of blood in here, but I watched this and I was entertained. It's got that total classic 90s anime style, which I like. Kind of gritty. Uh, the first episode is he's a teacher trying to be a teacher or a substitute teacher, and he's just there to like score chicks. And then he like kind of sort of gets one, and he's like, what am I doing? And it's weird, but I wanted to bring it up. If you're an anime fan, check it out. I watched them all, and it is what it is. I can't say it's amazing, but I was entertained. Okay, so Broken Weave. Back to the task at hand here. Let's see. The PDF version was $27. The physical copy was $55. That does not include shipping. And I believe in the last update, or one of the last ones, it had said that printing was done. Not going to bore you with that more than I already am. But this artwork right here, kind of the bloody anime piece, got me like, oh yeah, what is this about? It's kind of like an owl bear, but like more mouths on its chest and 4 eyes and ginormous. Like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So, I don't know how Kickstarter works. It might be too far removed that you can't fund it anymore. That's what the book was gonna look like. And the main gist of this is that all of magic, it has died. And in reading it today, I got about halfway through the book and I thought, yeah, I got the general sense of it. We'll try to go over the highlights of it, but it's kind of a reskin of 5th edition. And I forgot, here's Cubicle 7. Cubicle 7 is probably most known for Warhammer Fantasy. All of the Warhammer games. I don't know this Uncharted Journeys. It's not the destination, it's the journey. I don't know anything about this, but maybe in my free time I'll check it out. But there was a really good description here of what is Broken Weave. So, Broken Weave is a post-apocalyptic, tragic fantasy setting where hope and community is the only path forward. So imagine the world of the Far Realms, Dungeons and Dragons. Magic is pretty commonplace. Sure, there are very powerful wizards. Mordenkainen's Tome, or not the Tome of Foes, that's just a book, but Mordenkainen. And then, there are cantrips where, like in the movie, my 5-year-old son can produce flame. I get it. Like, magic is everywhere. And the way my brain works, jumping over, I'm currently watching X-Men 97 on Disney Plus, and in there I guess it's a spoiler if you're watching it or wanting to watch it. Storm gets her powers taken away, and there's a news story that farmland is struggling because there's a drought. And Storm can control the weather, so sure, she can just fly on over and give them rain. And I never, like, everybody knows Wolverine. I was never a huge X-Men fan, but I just thought, oh yeah, that's like an amazing power. She can do that. And so I feel like that's kind of like how prevalent magic is in the far realms. If you are a farmer and you're having troubles with your crop, maybe you can find a wizard and they can put a spell on, and then poof, you got like the best crop of your life. And in this world, magic is everywhere. Magic is used for so many things. You're born with like an innate essence of magic, and we'll come across the name of the event. I forget what it's called, but kind of like Berserk. There was an eclipse event, and now decay spreads everywhere. In here, they say many times that the gods have died, and literally they fell from the sky. And there are places in the world where there are corpses of dead gods. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Takes the classic D&D fantasy and like really flips it on its head. So, but there's this hope mechanic, and I think hope is a little campy, I'll say, where, okay, so the world is in decay. Gods have died. Magic causes this decay in you, which we'll get into, has like these actual effects based on your race, which is very cool. But the goal is you start this settlement, this community, and you try to grow the community. And the bigger the community is, the more hope there is. And the more hope there is, it drives away decay. And so if you are a Dragon Ball Z fan, I know I'm limiting my audience here, but there's a part where the main character Goku needs to stop like the world from ending, basically to defeat this character Majin Buu. And what he does is he calls like on everybody on the planet to give them part of their spirit. And he takes all the energy from the planet to defeat Majin Buu, if I'm remembering it correctly. And that kind of works much more locally in your community. The more community you have, the more people, the more hope, and they empower your characters, and they keep decay at bay. They keep monsters like this massive owl bear away. They keep these creatures called titans at bay. So that's the general premise. Let's see if anything else on my tabs here. The Kickstarter. All right. We're good. Okay, the setting. Oh, here we go. Here are some questions. Imagine a typical high fantasy setting. It could even be the one your group is playing in now. Now imagine if the weave of magic, a ubiquitous force which holds the fabric of the universe together, was broken. What would happen? What would it do to the magical landscapes and the creatures that call this fantasy world home? What about divine beings or arcane artifacts that are infused with magic? How could people survive in a land so fundamentally altered? So, while this is 5e compatible, I think anybody can use this. And they're going to talk about Cubicle 7 is coming up with their own D20 system. I back this right at the 2023 D&D debacle, the what is it called? The Creative Commons licensing issue or whatever. And when this came out, it was like, I think billed as a 5e supplement, and people are like, nope, I'm not supporting anything 5e. And I'm sure Cubicle 7 was like, hey, it's not our fault. Like, you know, just, we still want you to support us. And so shortly after, they said, okay, it will be 5e compatible, but also compatible with the new system that they're coming out with, which I don't think there's much information out there. I've not done the research on it myself. But Imagine you're in your normal D&D campaign and maybe it's going great. And then your DM just drops this bomb on you. Like, the world is different now. In my reading of it, it's kind of like overnight it basically happens. If you've seen the Berserk eclipse scene, it's like one day you're fine and the next it's a whole new world. And they talk about how the decay messes with time, so you can implement that. But even if your campaign's going great, maybe why change it? But if things are starting to get stale, or you're just looking for any reason to change it up, I think Broken Weave here could be a good fit for you. Let's see. The Broken World is a strange and psychedelic one. A once beautiful world viewed through a broken kaleidoscope. Terribly grim in some ways, hauntingly beautiful in others. So this shtick, the artwork, it really scratched my itch. I was excited to back this. Okay, here we go. The system is compatible with 5e, but will also use the Cubicle 7 D20 system, which they will launch later this year. And I could Google it maybe or search on here, but not relevant to me right now. So all these bolded words here are things we'll go over. There are new classes. There are not new races, but each race is affected by this decay mechanic differently. Life path, new monsters, these titans we've talked about. Oh, here's the Uncharted. Detailed travel mechanics based on our widely successful Uncharted journey system to make your journeys across the broken world truly unforgettable. That I did not read in the book yet, so I'm excited to. Harvesting, I've done an episode on harvesting and crafting, so excited to see what they have here. And then here's the main thing. It's this how this starts out in the book is you make a settlement. You need a settlement. You need other people to survive, to increase hope, to hold the decay at bay, as it were. Okay. So here's an example of a Titan. I was emailed this or notified that this was available, and these Titans are not necessarily like Attack on Titan, that realm, but they are massive like that. And I was trying to think of what animes or what show have I watched that they had these really gruesome monsters, and that's what made me think of Berserk. But I think Claymore had also some pretty gross things. We'll see that these Titans are pretty nasty. Okay, so we'll get into that. That's a campaign that comes with it. Okay, here's the PDF of Broken Weave. Getting into it. It is linked, which is pretty awesome. It is 304 pages. Look at this bug thing. We'll get into it. This decayed dice is pretty sweet. They do a really good job here in the intro talking about what it's like in this new world and how decay works. I don't know if this should have been the cover, but this artwork is phenomenal. Kudos to whoever did it. Here's a haven or a settlement. I think that artwork is gorgeous. I think that would be labeled as oil painting. I'm a small brain, but that's what I think. Okay, so really, really good directions on like how to have a session 0. Everybody comes together to make the haven. So what is its legacy, its location, its culture, what crisis does it have, and then finishing touches, name, how hard or easy you want it to be. You can have a, what do they call it? A haven with little decay or a lot of decay. lots of details here, lots of tables to roll on or pick, but you we come together, we know we want to play a role-playing game, and based on this, session 0, all right, we start with a haven. Well, what's the haven? Why was it initially founded? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 reasons why your haven would have been founded in the first place. So let's just, well, I don't want to roll. Let's just say we have on a D10, we have a 2 and a 5. So 2, let's say find, and a 5 would be, all right, our haven was founded so we could find a refugee where the monster, or sorry, a refuge where the monsters could not follow. Right? You don't want that massive owl bear thing chasing you down. So you get a group of people together to explore the wasteland and find a safe place. There's lots of other reasons here, but I'm not going to go over all 25. But okay, so we know this is why we initially were founded. What is your location? This one's really basic. What's your biome? Coastal, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, jungle, tundra, underground, wetland, or ruined city. Great. This is kind of like what the world looks like now. Like, look at if that's the sun or the moon, like decay. It's just everything. Magic tied everything together, and now magic is corrupted. Okay. Abundance and scarcity. It I think this session 0, everything we're going over now, is a super cool way to have world building and get player input, and like right off the bat not have a railroady situation. It gives players like instant buy-in, instant reason for caring. I know I talk about it all the time. My one major 11-month campaign, it was okay, well, my 2 players are coming to this town, and you have to come up with their own motivations, or they had to come up with their own motivations. And I like to believe, and if I didn't say it at the time, I say it now, like, hey, we're all here to play a game, so at least early on, like, you kind of got to make the leap, make the jump that, like, okay, I'm on board with the story. If you want to be the player that just says, this is like on session 1, no, my player definitely wouldn't do that. They wouldn't rush in to save the town that's on fire. Like, okay, that's fine, but like, again, it's probably railroady, but I've got this story going on over here, and either you choose to participate in it, or you're kind of just sitting on the sidelines till I figure out what to do with you and your character. So here, like, you're building it, you're building the world, specifically the haven, and you are right off the bat getting your own motivations. I think I mentioned it in an episode not too long ago. If not, I've definitely been thinking of like most of my episodes are on systems, games, mechanics, and that's like my bread and butter. I'm trying to piece together like the ultimate system, but falling to the wayside are like adventures and settings. So I really want to like open up my portfolio, and I think this broken weave for me like really scratches my itch. It really answers a lot of questions that I've had and is very intriguing to me. Okay. Tangent. Okay, so your haven has an abundance of some resource and a scarcity of another. And this is great for like, okay, well, we have an abundance of medicinal herbs, but we have a scarcity of meat. So they talk about right away, like, if you know another haven that has good hunters or trackers, like you can trade with them. You can open up lanes of communication and commerce, world building stuff, and it happens with a dice roll, or you can pick, but like it's organic and it's not, it's very sandboxy. It's not railroady. The players can, they know the facts and then they can deal with it how they want. And you set up your haven before you design a character. And they do say later, like, well, okay, now that you have your character, you can go back and make changes to your haven if you want. Like, make it how you want it to be, but it's structured in a way of, okay, well, here's where we live, and now how does my character interact with the world that we've established? And I think that's good because, like in Dungeons and Dragons, if you make a cleric that I forget the ability, but they can like heal undead, or they're more powerful against undead. And if you build that character first, but there's no undead in the campaign, you're kind of like wah wah. Right? Okay, great. There is a landmark. I'll read what it says here. To determine which landmark is nearby. This landmark will affect different aspects of your haven. If your haven lives in the shadow of a god corpse, they may be overly religious, praying for it to wake, while others who live near an ancient battlefield may be more attuned to the horrors of war, and therefore steer towards pacifism and preventing such slaughter from happening ever again. So, just couple examples here. A landmark you live by could be a colossal statue of a many winged and eyed being. A deep pit which runs right to the world's core. A ring of bell towers that conjure colorful songbirds. A perpetual storm which regularly casts purple lightning. Pretty cool. Okay, culture. Things that they value. This is kind of like alignment, sort of, kind of. We value structure, order, impulse, pleasure, freedom, strength, willpower, creativity, innovation, art. Clothing and appearances, traditions and superstitions. The leadership, how does it work? How is it governed? The eldest member of a family, descending from a great hero, rules the haven. A text passed down for generations details how the community should be run. Two scholars interpret it and make sure the other does not alter it. Kind of like United States and our Constitution, right? A bunch of old people made it, and now we have to interpret what they meant. Crisis. What is... like, no situation is perfect. We are in, for better or worse, think Warhammer, like grim dark fantasy. Like, things are bad. Even if we have a haven, like we're never totally safe. So there could be an internal conflict, external. This uncovered artifact. Let's see if we can get some details, because I thought this was interesting. If your haven encountered an artifact in the past, you must decide if the haven chose to keep it or dispose of it. In the case that the haven kept the artifact may be used by the haven and survivors living there, but the haven's decay increases by 1. An artifact is a magical item, and all magic has been corrupt. Otherwise, the artifact is somewhere outside the haven instead. A traveler or someone in your haven may claim to know the artifact's location. An old record may point the way to its resting place, or its effects may be felt upon the haven or surrounding lands. And here they have a list of 10 and pages that give more descriptions on them. Just listing a couple. Death March armor, Flask of Evergrowth, Gauntlet of Azure Flame, Bowl of Plenty. And later on, they give you descriptions of those. All right, Dangerous Monster. Is there a dangerous monster lurking? Let's see. Monsters are dangerous foes, but they can also provide unique resources that can be crafted into powerful equipment. So, a dangerous monster could be guarding its lair, hoarding an object, collecting mind secrets and memories, assemble a crude device or altar. And then it says that travelers have had encounters with these monsters, and here are some like rumored weaknesses or vague weaknesses. Finishing touches. All right, let's read about hope. I've talked about it, and to me it's a little campy, but I get it. Okay. All havens possess hope. Hope in the broken world has tangible power, which can push mortals beyond their limits and hold back decay. Hope is created when people come together to support each other and work towards a common goal, which means that havens are the primary source of generating hope. When survivors leave the haven to face great dangers, havens invest their hope into them, granting them a slim edge against the unknowable horrors beyond the relative safety of home. For more in depth, go here. Okay. Your haven begins with a pool of hope equal to 1d4 per player. A haven's hope can increase or decrease due to player actions, downtime, and seasonal activities, or through narrative events. I've gone over decay. I think I've explained it, but I'll give you the actual description here. Even havens are not safe from decay. It is an ever-present malady of the world from which there is no true escape. Yet sane communities rarely settle in places where decay is at its most destructive. Once a community forms, their collective hope is normally enough to hold back the worst effects of decay. Decay is measured on a scale of 1 to 10, and your haven begins with 1 decay. This means that the land is relatively stable in and around the haven itself. Well-trod paths lead where they should, weather and seasons are relatively predictable, an ecosystem of some kind has established itself, and monster sightings are relatively rare. For more in-depth, blah, 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 certain narrative events or choices you made during haven creation may increase the level of decay. And here they say you can increase your decay and get these benefits: an additional resource, an additional landmark. This one I thought was interesting. A dangerous monster may make its home near your haven at a cost of 1 decay. That seems like 2 negatives, but if you can harvest materials from the monster, I guess that's the benefit. Okay, resources. Resources are basically saying like, hey, we know it's rough out there, and rather than like micromanaging like exact food items, it's like a broad swath of like, all right, you guys have enough to survive. You have enough food, clothing, water, things like that, the needs. And based on your population, the more people you have, the more resources you can gather, because there's more people to farm, there's more people to make clothes, etc., things like that. So I think it's a good thing to have. I like the table, but it's not super crunchy. Right? Give your haven a name, and then that's it. All right, that's your haven. Survivor creation. You are a survivor. Courageous, skilled, or influential members of a haven who step forward to face the dangers that threaten the community. The community puts their faith in you to save the haven from falling into darkness. You'll keep track of your survivor using your survivor sheet. By the time you complete your survivor creation, your sheet will contain everything you need to begin play. If you're short on time, oh yeah, I wanted to click here actually, and see if I could get a character sheet. Allow all. Oh, I don't want Warhammer Fantasy. I want. Oh, are they not available? They might not be available. Oh, our games? So where's Broken Weave? Not on here. Might be too new. If I click 5E, there's Broken Weave. Pre-order now. I bet you they don't have the resources available. That's okay. But now I know. All right. This is going to be pretty streamlined here. So, love this flow chart. Like, check. Yep, got all those. Okay, good. Okay. You can be a dwarf, elf, halfling, human, and we'll go into more details later about those because they each have their own curses, which are pretty cool. But then there's the Forgotten. And the Forgotten is basically like you can come up with anything that you want. You could have wings, scales, be anything you want, which D&D, go for it. Like, I love that you have your established races, but that you need this option too. Like, let players come up with whatever they want within reason, right? And DMs, GMs have the final say of what is and is not acceptable. Okay. On rare occasions, individuals from two different lineages join together, overcome the biological odds, and birth a child of mixed lineages. For the mechanical effects, go to page 37. All right. So, for your life path, there are all these things: family, upbringing, occupation, defining experience, talent, possessions, allies, and enemies. Excuse me. And most of these give you some sort of like skill bonus. Here is like the basic rundown of you want to make your own thing. Okay. Describe your family and what you did before you would adventure. Assign any plus, or excuse me, I'll just read it. Assign +1 to 2 attribute scores of your choice. Gain proficiency in 2 skills. Select a talent, which I have to remember to go over talents. Gain proficiency in any combination of 3 tools, languages, or weapons. Choose or create an ally or an enemy. So these life path examples that we're going to go over, they do all of these things. They give you attribute scores and proficiencies and a talent. But if you wanted to just make your own, they give you the option to do that too. Okay. Your family, I'm a dwarf, human, halfling. My parents are of the same lineage, an influential family member. How big is your family? For your upbringing, full of hard grit, great fun, harder than most, educational, dangerous, on the road. And then those give you bonuses to your abilities. Your occupation, you were an entertainer, skilled in acrobatics. Let's see. Do these give mechanical benefits? Most havens exist precariously, and everyone has to contribute to ensure their survival. To determine your day-to-day role within the haven, choose a role on the occupation. Your occupation grants you proficiency in the listed skill. Oh, okay. You are one of these, D100, skilled in, I guess when I read acrobatics, I didn't even think of like, oh, that's the skill that you're proficient in. Okay, so your job gives you a proficiency in one of these: intimidation, stealth, perception. Yep, got it. Experiences. Let's see. Life in the broken world is a constant struggle for survival. You are plagued by threats and challenges from within and without, and must learn harsh lessons early in life if you hope to survive. Overcoming hardships creates defining moments in in every survivor's life and teaches them valuable lessons. So just what life lessons have you gone through? Trailed a monster through the wilderness to rescue a friend. You learned survival, get a bonus. You stopped the violent conflict which threatened to split your haven in two. Gain a proficiency in persuasion. This is your great character building. We built our haven, now we're building our character, and they give you great examples for backstory. Now, there are, I think, occupations in D&D, but the fact that I think there are and I don't know that there are, like, shame on me, I guess, but those also gain you proficiency, so this isn't like anything mind-blowing. A talent you have. Talents are unique abilities and tricks you have learned throughout your life. They are not tied to your class or lineage, so are more personal to you. These talents here, to determine what unique talent you've picked up, roll or choose on the table. A complete list of talents can be found on page 95. These are like what in D&D? They're feats. These are feats. And I don't want to go to page 95 right now, but they give you definitions of what these all do. All right, possessions. You own and have learned to use various tools and weapons to help you survive. Your possessions could include a weapon used to hunt or fight, or a tool that allow you to contribute to the community. Whatever it is, you always know how best to use it. So, like, I have proficiency in swords. I have proficiency in bows. I have proficiency in thieves' tools, things like that. Here you can pick or roll on the table. Allies and enemies. I want to see one of these I thought was really good. It was like the person you're sitting next to has impacted you in some way. Let's see. No one grows up in the broken world without people they can rely on. Your survival is too dependent on bonds and connections. Unfortunately, small betrayals or personality clashes in such close confines make it likely you'll end up with an enemy of some sort within your community. Once you know why you are allies or enemies, you can give them a name. Let's see. Okay. Allies. You have complementary interests with this person, so you've built a strong working relationship. You share mutual secrets with this person to comfort them after a tragedy. Enemy. This person once abandoned you to die and refuses to take responsibility. Once you know why you are allies, or you can give them a name, occupation, or other details you see fit. So I think this is good ammunition for the game master to write down, okay, I have to make up NPCs for all of these, and these allies come and go. They could be other player characters, or they're other people that just live in the haven. So you're populating the haven. So I'm not going to go back up to the table, but it said like a haven with a population of less than 100 and like greater than 600. Obviously, you're not going to come up with 600 NPCs, but you come up with 10 total. That's probably too many of like named NPCs that players interact with frequently. I think that totally makes sense. And here you get like motivations for that. Love it. Okay. Classes. Throw out fighter, throw out paladin, throw out rogue. We've got something totally different here. I'll see if they even mention that here. Your class gives you a clear focus and role in the group. It grants several abilities, gives proficiency in various skills and equipment, and a +1 bonus to its key attribute. Choosing your class is one of the most important decisions you will make, so be sure you are happy with your choice. If you can't decide on a class, refer back to your life path for inspiration on the role you may have taken within the Haven. Okay. Yeah, will read most of these here. All right, you could be a Herod. Herod tap into the corrupting force of decay to shield others from its effects and use its unnatural power to defend their haven and protect their allies. Herod are invaluable to a haven, but are often left isolated or ostracized within the community. You know what? Well, they go into more depth later. What page am I on? 33. You know what? Yeah. Okay. Um, let's actually jump down there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna skip classes. The rest of this here isn't worth going over. We're gonna skip classes. We'll come back to it. So lineages are like races, and I'll give you a skim here of dwarf, and then even briefer, more surface level skim of the rest. Okay, dwarves kind of gives you a background of what it's like to be a dwarf. I think if you're listening to this, watching this, you already know, so I won't go into it. But okay, before the breaking, so like I've mentioned that Berserk has the eclipse. This is known as the breaking. Hold your tongue. You walk in the halls of my ancestors. Don't dishonor their genius with your nonsense prattling. After the breaking, I can almost see it through the forge smoke. My greatest work, if I can just concentrate. But the fire, it burns. All right. They have a curse. We'll get into it. Okay. Age, they could be 40 to 200. They have a speed of 25. They have dark vision, my least favorite mechanic in all of role-playing games. But they have fire resistance. Because every dwarf has a fire burning within them that grows hotter as they decay. Literally, they have fire inside of them. As a result, you are more than accustomed to the pain of flames. You regain resistance to fire damage. Their curse, when you get more decay, affects them more and more. Your skin gradually. Okay, sorry. If you have 1 to 3 levels of decay, your skin gradually cracks in places, revealing molten fire beneath. A faint glow may be visible in your eyes or mouth. So if I go up here, like you can see the cracking. Here's the glow that they have. Everybody is cursed because everybody is born with some sort of magic in them. If you have 4 to 7 levels of decay, the cracks in your skin widen and the surrounding skin blisters. You're hot to the touch and your eyes and mouth blaze with an internal fire. The fire burning within you provides occasional flashes of genius, but your skin spurts magma when struck. When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet makes a test, you can use your reaction to add 1d6 to the result. Pretty cool. You cannot do so again until you complete a long rest. If you suffer bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you and all creatures within 5 feet take 1d4 fire damage. Thank you, thank you, Broken Weave from Cubicle 7. You have made bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing relevant again. Love it. Thank you. D&D, 5e. Why you no do this? Just imagine the monster manual filled with monsters that are affected by different types of damage. I'm sure they exist. I don't have every monster memorized, not even close. But in my relatively useful knowledge on the subject, it doesn't come up that often. All right, 8 to 9 decay. Your skin is charred and rivulets of molten metal drip from your body, frequently causing small fires in your wake. Uh-oh, we got a problem. You become painfully hot to the touch. Your eyes burn and a glow from deep inside lights your face when you speak. However, your flashes of genius are more frequent. The bonus you add to a test from your Curse of Flame increases to 1d10, and you can use this feature instead of a d6, and you can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution bonus before completing a long rest. So you can do it more often than just once per rest. In addition, the damage dealt when you take bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing increases to 1d6. So if you're a tank and you're constantly getting hit, you're splattering this molten lava, your blood everywhere. So cool. Now here comes, I think, the coolest. 10 decay. Your body burns up from the inside and you become a monster of flame and magma. You are lost to decay and transform into a crucible under the control of the GM. We're going to go down to page 258 to look at that. You die, you become a monster, and the GM controls you. Here's what you turn into. This. Role-playing a crucible, fighting a crucible. They have their own actions, burning blows, hurl flame. They have traits, their own stats. But the one downside is they're a challenge rating 1. I'm not sure if there's a way to scale it up, but I wish it matched whatever. If a player was a level 10, I'm not necessarily saying they should be a level 10 CR, but there should be a way to scale it. And maybe there is, and I just haven't read it yet, but so cool that like the decay got you, and you didn't die in combat from like lack of blood. Like in Mothership, like you've failed a panic attack. This is like a stress mechanic, which in a fantasy setting, granted this isn't like traditional fantasy setting, I think that's so cool. We'll look at ways that you can get decay. I imagine it's not super common, but I mean, it's there. It can happen. It's always looming over you. Okay, so that's the overview of dwarfs. There are elves, and they turn into these like prismy geo type creatures. For their abilities, what they get, when they have 4 to 7 levels of decay, these large clusters of crystal burst through their flesh, increases their armor class. They can turn into claws. You gain +2 to your AC, and your unarmed attacks deal 1d6 slashing damage, but you're slower. And when your decay gets to 10, you turn into this scythe creature. An elf's ability is that they are unnaturally resilient, and they get a 1 HP maximum increase by 1 and gain +1 HP each time you gain a level. So I like that. They are unshakable. In ancient days, your people could stand watch over a grove for days on end with no sustenance other than the earth's warmth. Though your connection to the dying world is severed, you retain a deep well of endurance which can see you through countless hardships. You always count as having 1 fewer levels of exhaustion than you currently have. And I think when you travel, it's much easier to get exhaustion, so that can be pretty sweet. Halflings, they have a strong connection to water, and they can transform using water. Malleable, You call upon the shifting nature of your people to change your appearance to your liking. During a long rest, you can change any aspects of your appearance, including your hair color and length, facial structure, voice, eye color, and sex. You cannot use this ability to change your statistics or your size. For their decay, when they're at 8 or 9 levels of decay, your body continues to melt, rapidly losing cohesion. If you are not wearing or carrying anything, you can move through gaps as narrow as 1 inch wide. Additionally, once per turn, as an action, when you have a creature grappled, you can shift your form to fill their lungs, causing them to suffocate. The target gains a level of exhaustion at the start of their next turn and continues to gain levels of exhaustion each turn you have them grappled in this way. Finally, you have disadvantage on all strength tests. You're so liquidy, your grasp goes right through things. They become a drainer when the decay takes them. Humans, they have stolen knowledge. As a human, you have picked up specific skills quicker than most. It's almost as if you pluck them out of thin air, or more likely, siphon them from the minds of those around you. You gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. That's a very human ability in traditional D&D. Valentor's Call. If you listen hard enough, you can still hear the faint whispers on the wind, an almost imperceptible pull calling you to return to the fallen city of Valentor. It's like the main human city, and something kind of cool is there's this place, kind of like in Dune, because I just have watched those movies. The Fremen have the pool of something like all the water that they've sucked out of the dead. There's something like that here, but it's their spirit, and I think all of their knowledge and memories are stored there. So humans like never forget anything. It's all stored and accessible to anybody. So while disconcerting, this pull acts as a natural compass, helping you navigate the broken world. You have advantage on wisdom survival tests to navigate the broken world and orient yourself. Once you leave a haven, I skipped over this thing called landmarks. Landmarks allow you to know where you are when you leave your haven, but if once you get out where there aren't landmarks, no, I think I did talk landmarks. Yeah, I did. Then like you get all disoriented and time can pass in years. It's pretty wild. Okay, lots to read here. Okay, for a human, if you have 8 to 9 decay, your body rapidly slides closer to death with every moment, and you must constantly resist the urge to drain those around you. You double the amount of damage dealt when you siphon a creature's soul. In addition, if you go the whole day without feeding on a soul, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. If you get the 10th level of decay, the deathly energies suffusing your body finally snuff out the last light within you. You die immediately and rise the following night as a husk under the GM's control. Cool. And then there's the Forgotten, the anything else you want to be. So based on your lineage, you get different gifts. Here's how flight works: elemental attunement, natural weapons, horns, teeth, claws, tough hide, uncanny fortitude. I think that's a pretty good selection here that you can get. And if those don't suit you, homebrew your own. Okay, let's see. I'll talk about their low level decay. Parts of your body begin to fade and crumble before your eyes, especially around those parts connected to your lineage gifts. So if you have wings, the feathers start to fall out, things like that. 4 to 7 levels of decay. The crumbling decay spreads further, robbing your presence from the memory of others and causing people's eyes and minds to slip over your form. Creatures suffer disadvantage on perception tests to detect your presence. In addition, people who don't see you for longer than a week struggle to remember you. 8 to 9 levels of decay. You fade further from existence, robbing you of the gifts that make you unique as you slowly become a half remembered wraith of your former self. You randomly determine and lose the use of one of your lineage gifts as your body rapidly crumbles. In addition, you gain resistance to non magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage as weapons seem to pass right through you. People who don't see you for longer than a day forget who you are. That would be super cool to roleplay. And at the 10th level of decay, the last shreds of your existence fade into oblivion without fanfare. Aw. Leaving nothing but a shadow of your presence in the minds of all who knew you. Dang. Okay. I think that is super cool. It gives you positives and negatives for the race. In D&D, no knock to it. It's all positive. These are the things that you get. But being in the broken weave, like, it's a harsh world, and if you're not careful, these things are going to happen to you. I think this broken weave is like, if someone were to come to me and say, Heath, I need you to run a campaign, I think this is like Mothership is probably still my number one. I love it. I did an episode on what was it called? The 9 Levels of Hell, the drive-through RPG book that I purchased. That is up there. You travel through the river Styx, but I don't know where this falls, 1, 2, or 3. But the more I read this, like, yeah, this is my jam. Okay, so I skipped this before, but let's get into classes because the traditional classes are out. All right, Herald, Maker, Sage, Seeker, Speaker, Warden. Herald. I think they have a... Okay, here we go. Yeah. This is why I skipped it, because I remembered this. Play a Herald if you want to. Understand and absorb decay and utilize dangerous powers. So imagine everything we just talked about with the races. And the more decay you have, the more benefit you get, but also there's negatives to it. But imagine being able to control that. I think that's amazing. Tread a fraught path between protecting yourself and saving others. Wield decay to harm, heal, and bring hope. They are shaped by their unique ability to absorb, manipulate, and resist decay, both a blessing and a curse. Their gift allows them to access powers and use artifacts others can't, but every time they risk the terrible ravages of decay. The cause of Harold's gifts is not well understood. Some are seemingly touched by decay from birth or by a traumatic experience with a monster or arcane artifact, while others have more mysterious origins and bear an indefinable quality that allows them to process decay through their bodies as others cannot. I read that kind of weird. Before I read that they were like outsiders, which probably makes sense. Like, they harness decay and people do not want decay. So, but they deal with it. Very much like 5th edition, they have a quick build here. Like, hey, these are the things that you're good at. Here's a good tree or a chart of everything that happens. Proficiency bonuses, all the features that they get. Talents are like feats. At certain levels, you get a talent or a new ability. Nothing quite new there. Let's look at what would be... Are there subclasses? I don't know. that. Must be. Let's see. Mark. Shame on me for not knowing. Mark. The condemned know their time's limited. Choose. They hone their. Okay, yeah. When you choose this mark at 3rd level. Okay. Yep. So there are subclasses. Let's go. Hold back the tide. So this is the main core ability. At level 17, you have learned to hold back decay, at least for a time. Once per day is a free action. You can choose to become immune to the effects of decay for a number of minutes equal to your constitution bonus. You can't gain decay in any way during this time, including from environmental effects, monster abilities, or your class features. Additionally, you can choose to ignore the effects of your lineage curse during this time. All right. I'm not reading all the subclasses here. That would take forever. All right, there's a maker. Think like an artificer. Play a maker if you want to. Craft items and structures that help your haven survive and thrive. Experiment with rare and dangerous materials. Create constructs, potions, and weapons to deal with any situation. Makers create whatever a community needs, from buildings and pottery to arms and alchemical brews. In the broken world, those who can build something from what little remains are the lifeblood of havens. Many makers specialize in a specific craft, while others collect recipes and materials like glint birds, turning their hands to anything required of them. This is extremely useful in smaller havens or as part of a traveling group. Now, it's well known, like, all right, we need a rogue in the party to sneak in and do something. We need oh wait, that's really like the only one I can think of. Barbarian fighter, tell me the difference. It's just a different way for like melee combat. Wizard, warlock, sorcerer. What's the difference? They can use magic. There's the artificers, which I have little experience. I haven't played one or dealt with a player that's been one. That's different. But there's this, like, I think more so from original D&D, where like, okay, we need a fighter. Well, there's only 3, right? There's a magic user, a fighter, and the cleric, and then the rogue became like the first expansion. And so there were so few, and I could see where you would need a character more specialized in these things. But I like here that, like, sure, we can have an NPC that's a maker, but we go back to the whole original thing we talked about was you start with making your haven, and then you want to be a maker. You want to make things for your haven. The stronger the haven, the stronger you are. Like, it gives you a defined role, right? Rather than just, I'm melee, I'm magic, I'm sneaky. Which, there's elements to all of that in this, but to me it seems like, yep, here's my defined purpose. This is what I do. Let's look at their top ability here, if I can find it quick. 17. Maker's Kit. Level 2, level 3. Nope. Maybe I'm just not going for level 9, level 13. Level 17. At level 17, you have begun passing on your knowledge and expertise and have taken on your first apprentice. During downtime, see page 158, I want to remember that. Your apprentice can help you with downtime activities. You have advantage on all tests. Additionally, while you are away from your haven, your apprentice can continue working in your stead. Your apprentice can undertake one downtime activity for each week you are away. That's pretty cool. Level 17 seems a little extreme. Like, couldn't you just hire a minion? or what's that called? A follower, something like that. Subclasses, not getting into it. That one is, basically an artificer. Okay, a sage. Play a sage if you want to. Be the guardian of your haven's history and lore. Learn from the past to shape your haven's future. Seek out, preserve, and share knowledge. Beating a dead horse here, beating the drum. I love non combat focused characters. I think they're underused. Combat is a major pillar of the hobby. So for you to kind of like negate out that, I think is very interesting. Sages are repositories of knowledge and expertise, living libraries that chronicle the history and stories of their haven. While some brash young folk might scoff at the usefulness of esoteric lore, right? You negate a whole pillar, that's what I'm saying. None can deny the value of a skilled healer, nor the hard-worn knowledge of a grizzled veteran. In the broken world, lives are often tragically short, and most sages are simply those who survived the longest. They are likely to have seen more than one haven rise and fall, and can use their knowledge and expertise to guide their own. So let's look at their abilities here. What can they do? You are the bearer of a lorekeeper's tome. These chronicles contain the community's oldest records, which you must safeguard and add your knowledge and expertise to. The lorekeeper's tome is filled with history, stories, myths, and legends, and the collective expertise of the sages that came before. It is a vital part of any haven, as committing these tales and histories to a physical medium gives them permanence and holds back decay. The material the lorekeeper's tome is constructed of and the language it's written in are different in every community and can change with each new sage with its care. Your lorekeeper's tome grants you the following abilities. Record keeper, you are diligent in chronicling your experiences in the broken world, and recording this knowledge has become second nature. Once per day, when you take a long rest, you can undertake their recording knowledge campcraft activity, in addition to any other campcraft activities you undertake. Okay, well, what does that mean? Let's go to page 157. Campcraft. 157. Back it up. Back it up. Campcraft activities. Well, there's a whole list of them. Bond. Your party spends time telling stories, playing games, sharing jokes. At the end of the long rest, all party members gain 2d10 temporary hit points. That's awesome. Contemplate scars. Once before your long rest, you can re-roll a failed death saving throw. Awesome. Comfort beasts. Until your next long rest, the beasts you tended to have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Craft ammunition. Encourage. Once before their long rest, your ally can add 1d4 the result of any test. Forage. You take the time to forage, searching for edible berries or mushrooms. You find a number of rations equal to your wisdom bonus. Fortified the body. Choose either strength, dexterity, or constitution. Until your next long rest, you have advantage on saving throws. This is so cool. This is so cool. I love this. Listen, you take a moment with one of your companions, offering a shoulder to cry on. Your empathy and understanding eases your allies' burdens. Once before their next long rest, they can choose to gain advantage on a test or a saving throw. Oh my god, so cool. Okay, record knowledge. This was the one. You make an effort to record important knowledge or memories from your journey so far in order to fend off decay's memory erosion. You can create a written account, draw sketches, carve something from hardened mushroom root, or any other method you wish. Until your next long rest, you have advantage on saving throws to resist memory loss caused by decay. That's something I didn't mention. We're an hour and 15 minutes into this. The decay wears away at your brain. We read it for the race and the curses that they have, but it just deteriorates everything about you. Your brain being one of them. Okay, cool. 68 is where I left off. Consult the ancestors. You delve deep into the records. You declare a subject for study. You must spend 10 minutes consulting your Lord Keeper's Go. On a success, your Lord Keeper's Tome contains a precious piece of factual and verified information. Your GM must tell you one piece of truthful and helpful information about the subject of your research. Cool. Past life. Sages are often the eldest. Choose a skill or tool you utilized as part of your past life and gain proficiency in it. Okay. Harmless. Okay, I like this one. I haven't read it, but I already like it. Harmless. At first glance, most sages don't seem dangerous. Bowed as they are under the weight of years and their scholarly trappings. This, combined with a taboo around harming sages, means that people are unlikely to directly harm you when a fight breaks out. It's the old man. Leave him alone. During a battle, humanoids initially believe you are harmless and will not attack you. However, they may still use non-damaging actions against you, such as shove or grapple. This effect lasts until you make an attack or take another action that would endanger them or their loved ones. At the GM's discretion, this effect may extend to certain animals and monsters. I said I'd like it. I guess I like it. That's kind of hard to just dictate to the GM, like, no, you don't get to attack me. It says here, you're humanoid, you don't get to attack me. I'd have to think about that. Right? You're the end boss. The end boss is a human. I can't attack you? They may still use non-damaging actions against you. This effect lasts until you make an attack or take another action that would endanger them or their loved ones. I guess if you're just sitting there not doing anything, then you're fine. But if you buff another character, let's say, I don't know if you can, but if you can do that, now you're a problem. So I guess I get that. Okay. All right. Reading helps. At level 3, you begin to hone a particular field. Okay, yeah, your subclass. You could be a healer, lore keeper, or a veteran. Let's see. Level 5, you get an extra action. Fast thinker, also at level 5. You can maintain your composure and quick thinking even in the midst of combat. You gain a bonus to your initiative equal to your intelligence bonus. Oh, interesting. You don't see a lot of messing around with initiative. Experienced foresight. Make an intelligence check based on your subject. You have advantage on this test. On a success, you can use your knowledge to predict the creature's next move. The GM tells you what the creature plans to do on its next turn. You can share this information with your allies as a free action, provided they can hear you. If the creature's plans change before its next turn, the GM must update you on its plans. For example, if a monster was planning to attack a specific ally, but your quick warning caused the ally to move out of the monster's range, the GM will tell you that the monster is now planning to attack a different ally instead. Okay. I guess that's the ability. The problem I'm thinking is like, okay, well, now you're really like taking me out of the immersion and you're like making it more of a game, which I know we're playing a game, but like, okay, yeah, the wolves were gonna attack Tim, but now that you told them, the wolves are now gonna, I don't know, attack Steve. I don't know. That's interesting. That's one that I'd have to play with to get a handle on. All right, my final lesson. At level 17, you feel deep in your body and soul that your time will soon come to leave the broken world forever. What? You're becoming more powerful. During a short or long rest, you can grant your final lesson before peacefully passing away? Your haven gains hope equal to your intelligence bonus. In addition, choose the nature of your final lesson and select an appropriate skill, saving throw, tool, or weapon that is thematically connected to the lesson. For the next week, all characters who heard your final lecture have advantage on tests made with the associated skill, saving throw, or weapon as your parting words resonate in their hearts. Alternatively, if you would die during play, rather than dying immediately, you instead fall unconscious. Enemies assume you are dead and will not attack you for the remainder of combat. You cling to life long enough to survive the battle, at which point you wake just long enough to say your farewells and impart your final lesson as above. What? That is wild. I love it. My final lesson, Splinter tells the turtles, "You are brothers. Work as a team and you cannot be stopped." And then they go to frickin' Dimension X and just destroy Shredder and Krang. Hell yeah. I said it. Okay, a healer. Let's look at their base, because I feel like healing stinks in D&D. When you choose this understanding at 3rd level, you master the art of the healer's kit and dedicate yourself to the selfless act of healing your allies in the time of need. As an action, you can expend one use of a healer's kit to heal a wounded creature. Choose a target within 5 feet who is not within 5 feet of an enemy and grant one of the following effects. The target recovers a number of hit points equal to your hit die plus your sage level. D6, D8, D10, something like that. Plus your sage level. So let's say you're level 5. So like it could be about 10 hit points. That's pretty good. Purge toxins. The target immediately recovers from the poison condition. Save a life. The target is immediately stabilized. Okay, I like that. At level 3, you can care for more severe wounds, even in the wild, sewing shut gashes and resetting broken bones with little more than lamplight and whatever comes to hand. During a long rest, choose an ally with at least 2 death saves. At the end of the long rest, the target recovers from an additional death save thanks to your care. Alternatively, the ally recovers all of their hit dice. Ooh, do death saves stick around? Are death saves supposed to stick around? Oh, that's interesting. I figured after combat, everything just went away. I gotta research that now. At level 7, heal the masses. Make a DC 15 intelligence medicine test. On a success, your haven recovers population equal to your intelligence bonus. This cannot take the population above its value before the crisis occurred. Oh, in the wake of a see page 31. Like a Titan comes and attacks your town. Okay, let's see. Urgent Aid. At level 15, you can deliver your healing even faster than before, darting through the battlefield to save your allies. Once per round, if a creature within 30 feet is critically injured, you can spend your reaction to immediately move over to within 5 feet of them. Use your applied medicine feature, which I think I skipped over. Oh no, here. Okay. 10 hit points, poison, stabilize them immediately. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. And then the ultimate healer 1 ability, Enduring Lesson. At level 19, the lessons you teach about health and medicine take root in the minds of your community, ensuring that all future generations know how to live healthier lives. Future characters raised in your heaven start with 1 additional hit die. Bro. That's pretty cool. That is like a lengthy end game ability. Like, it's not your character, it's future characters. Oh my god. That's amazing. Okay. Seeker. Play a Seeker if you want to delve deep into untamed lands to find strange and dangerous places. Guide your companions in traversing the wild safely. Build waymarkers and create maps that will benefit future generations. These are the rangers you wish you had. The scouts, explorers, and hunters of a haven, Seekers undertake dangerous forays out into the wild and walk the broken paths of the world. With the land shifting constantly, maps can only be relied upon for a short time. Instead, Seekers trust their instincts and the trail glyphs they find. Seekers build waymarkers, which provide some stability in the changing wilds and help guide travelers along their way. Walk the Old Paths ability. Seekers travel through the broken world, placing waymarkers as they rediscover old paths and charter new ones. Additionally, you can locate waymarkers set by other Seekers or perhaps even by yourself on a previous journey. These waymarkers often contain hidden supplies or essential information. Once per day, you can spend 1 hour searching for a waymarker. If there is one in the area, you will find it. Roll on the Waymaker's stash table below to see what resources have been hidden. A survivor's pack, a delver's kit, 2-person tent, 2 healing poultices, well worn out but functional cheat chit pelt armor, a martial melee weapon. Lead the way. You are used to traveling ahead of others, traversing obstacles and avoiding hazards. To find a safe path for your allies, you ignore the effects of difficult terrain, and your speed is not reduced while moving stealthily. Cool. Ooh, let's see if they have a subclass that's kind of like a rogue. Subclass of a delver. Delvers travel into the dark places beneath the ground and seek out ruins where artifacts might lie buried. Not quite. Hunter is a path. Yeah, this has got to be it. Strider. Striders ally with nature. Oh, maybe not. Striders ally with nature and wild animals, easily navigating the landscapes and forming packs of beasts to fight alongside them. In return for a strider's protection, animals lead them through danger or towards natural resources. Striders commit themselves to fixing the shattered ecosystems and driving decay out of wild places. Oh, very cool. I didn't think that, but it's there. Speaker. Play a speaker if you want to. Inspire others through your words and stories. So this is kind of like a bard. Deftly control situations and turn war into peace. Wield words as weapons to tear people down or raise them up. Speakers are negotiators, storytellers, and diplomats. They are charismatic and can put forward arguments and viewpoints persuasively. This power over hearts and minds makes speakers some of the world's most powerful individuals in the broken world, as a competent speaker can unify a fractured community or drive it to tear itself apart. Oh, that last part is sweet. Okay. I want to look at the subclasses here. Art. Envoy. Envoys are diplomats and charmers who make people feel special and understand their needs. They can sway people's opinions deftly, help their companions to feel ready for anything, and adapt to new cultures. An envoy knows that war never solves problems, only that it creates more issues that must be solved later with words. That's pretty awesome. A preacher. The gods are not truly dead, or so the preacher believes. The preacher inspires others to faith, believing that with enough followers, the gods might return. When they start performing minor miracles, who is to say where the true power lies? Oh, interesting. When you choose this art at 3rd level, you dedicate time to learning about the gods of old and the world they ruled over. You gain proficiency in the forgotten lore. If you already have one, you have double proficiency. Prayers of denial. Starting level 3, you refuse to believe the gods are dead and use your powerful voice and charisma to convince others that miracles can still happen if they only believe. Preach freedom. As an action, choose yourself or an ally within 60 feet that can see and hear you. For the next 1 minute, the target can take an additional move on each of their turns and has advantage on tests to break free from grapples or other forms of restraint. In addition, if the target jumps during this time, they can roll your speaker's voice die and a number of feet till their jump equal to the result. Sermon of Anger. At level 7, you can passionately orate great speeches that can drive your followers into righteous fury and empower them to fight their oppressors or lash out against the broken world. If you are in a haven when it falls into crisis, you could spend a long rest preaching anger to your haven. If you do so, your haven gains resistance to crisis damage caused by physical threats they can direct their anger towards, such as raiders or monster attacks. This effect lasts for 1 week. Oh, dang. Whisperer. Oh, my. Whisperers live by the mantra that sometimes a lie can do more good than the truth ever could. Whisperers are expert manipulators and spies and use their words to change the course of a haven's future for better or worse. Here we have at level 11, Assassinate. At level 11, you have learned that sometimes a well-placed blade is the only way to stop a war, restore hope, or steer your community towards a brighter future. When you successfully use your Out Cold feature, you can spend 1 hit die to kill the target instead of knocking them unconscious. Okay, Out Cold. Starting at level 3, you learn the best ways to silently incapacitate people who get in the way of your secretive undertakings. If you make a successful called shot to the head, no mechanic that I just page 124, against a surprised humanoid, you can choose to deal no damage and silently knock them unconscious. Okay, well, let's go to called shot. Page 87. Gotta go down to 124. I mean, this is D&D, but it's like a new game. Called shot. Head, arms, legs. This section provides several new actions your enemies can take in combat. Called shot. Oh, you and your enemies. You target a vital area, leaving your foes vulnerable. When you make an attack, you can choose to target a specific body part. Make an attack test with disadvantage and choose your target location from those listed below. The enemy must make the saving throw listed with a DC equal to the damage suffered. Oh, whoa. If you are using a ranged weapon, you can only make called shots at targets within your weapon's normal range. Headshot. You aim for the target's head to disorient them. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. So you're attacking at disadvantage. Okay, so that sucks. And they get a save equal to your damage. So if you don't deal a lot of damage, it's likely you're going to miss with disadvantage. Then if you don't deal a lot of damage, it's likely that they're going to save against it anyway. So it's kind of like, we'll say double disadvantage, kind of. I think that's totally fair. So head is Constitution, arms are strength, and legs are dexterity. I like that. I think that's totally fair. Okay. Let's go to a warden. These are the fighters. Play a warden if you want to protect those around you, even at risk to yourself. Inspire people by leading them from the front. Bear ancestral weapons or armor with a proud and tragic history. I don't need to go into more detail. Let's just look at subclass names and maybe descriptions if needed. I've got about 25 minutes left on my recording software. So, extra actions, more attacks. Avenger. Avengers keenly feel the world's wrongs and cannot rest without fighting them. Avengers push themselves beyond their limits in pursuit of vengeance. They punish wrongdoers in the hope of preventing future harm, and while they walk a lonely road, Avengers are fiercely protective of the people they care about. A sentinel. While all wardens risk themselves to protect others, sentinels become bastions of endurance in the face of overwhelming odds. They are the ones who get back up time and time again, refusing to stay down while the fight rages on and suffering injuries that would have felled their allies. You become an immovable wall, absorbing enemies' attacks and remaining on your feet no matter the cost. Whenever you use Valiant Defender feature to take damage in place of an ally, you have resistance to the damage. Additionally, you cannot be knocked prone unless you are incapacitated. Oh, so that is like the tankiest tank. All right, a war caller. War callers are tacticians, generals, and leaders who command and direct others in the fray. So kind of like what it's the bard ability. You can inspire people and give them advantage. Okay. Those are the classes. All right, and then we have talents. Are talents the same as feats? Broken Weave introduces talents. Talents are similar to the feats found in Standard 5th Edition, but are notably less powerful. 2 talents are roughly equivalent to 1 feat. If your group would like to use feats found in many 5th Edition supplements, characters can choose a feat whenever they gain personal advancement levels 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, as long as the feat is thematically appropriate to Broken Weave. Armor Master, you can get the most out of your armor and know just how to move to turn away blows. You gain 1 AC while wearing armor. Now, I think a lot of feats are like you gain 1 AC and you gain +1 to strength. There's normally like a stat increase plus an ability or like a +2 to your stat, I think. Let's see. Backstab. You know how to strike from the shadows with deadly precision. Once per turn, when you attack a creature that is unaware of you, you deal +1 d6 damage. Let's see, there are tons. Not going to go over all of these. Let's see, decay resistance. You were either born with a natural resistance to decay, a rare and enviable trait, or a brush with decay has had the unexpected effect of hardening your body against its touch. You gain proficiency in decay saving throws. If you are already proficient in decay saving throws or later would gain proficiency in them, you double your proficiency bonus for any decay saves you make. Let's see, what does this say? Sit, stay. True domestication is rare in the broken world, and some animals are barely obedient. Is that related to? Oh, okay. Ooh, gaining a creature companion. Ooh. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sharpshooter. Okay, yeah. Underdog. Don't know. Okay. Equipment. Here we go. All right. I have not explored past this page myself. So let's see. Money talks. Using resources offers a different approach to traditional fantasy adventures, which often focus on gaining loot, treasure, and magic items. This system reinforces the struggle for survival in Broken Weave and the need to come together as a community. However, if your group prefers the more straightforward approach of using currency, that can work too. Okay. So remember, the more people you have in your haven, the more resources you get. You can take those to trade and barter for goods. So I like that. Over time, your haven generates additional resources. Downtime activities. All right, I want to get to that page. Harvesting. Cool. I'm not going to go over it. The following melee weapons are used by the people of Guardian's Lament. Page 187 may be found in other havens in the Broken World. Pretty extensive list. I'll just name these: club, fire hardened spear, hatchet, hammer, hunting knife, reaping hook, smithing hammer, staff, stone wood, great club, unarmed strike, bone shard, great spear, breaker's hammer, broken blade, deep stone, great hammer, felling axe, forge made longsword, long hafted axe, reforged great blade, rusty sword, splitting pick. And let's see, what do these cost? Cost 1, 2, 3. These must be your resources. Common, uncommon, DC. Oh, what is DC? Damage 1d4. Damage class? Oh. I think I get lucky and type in DC and find exactly what I need. Searching. Nope. DC 20. To harvest resources, you must make a DC 10 dexterity test using butcher tools. Sorry, don't know. I'm gonna skip. Difficulty class. It must be to make it. That's got to be what it is. To craft it. That's got to be what it is. Ranged weapons: crossbow, short bow, sling, blowpipe, crossbow, longbow, armor. Same thing: light armor, heavy armor, fancy names, armor class requirements, disadvantage on stealth. Nothing too crazy there. Just maybe flavored. Not maybe, definitely flavored. Tools. Yep. Okay. Items, gear, modifying equipment. Ooh. Balanced, brittle, camouflaged, damage resistant. Ooh, yeah. Crafting. Yes, crafting's so cool. Love that it's in here. New rules. Survivors must have sharp minds, quick reflexes, and keen senses to survive the broken. Below is a complete list of skills in Broken Weave. Each skill has a short description. Acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, deception, forgotten lore, intimidation, medicine, natural lore, perception, persuasion, sleight of hand. Nothing too wild there. Mixing skills and attributes. Each skill listed in parentheses has the attribute it is most commonly associated with. However, parts of this book and future supplements will call for alternate pairings, such as Constitution, Athletics to run long distances without stopping, using Charisma, local lore to gather rumors, or the Warden's Avengers' imposing manner that allows them to use strength instead of Charisma for intimidation checks. The Golden Rule. If there is ever a conflict between the 5th edition or Cubicle 7D20 rules and the new rules presented in Broken Weave, remember the Golden Rule. Whichever ruling the group agrees would result in the most dramatic, tragic, or hopeful story always takes precedence. Extended tests. Building fortifications for your haven or harvesting priceless god's blood can take weeks or even months. For tasks that require that kind of time and dedication, Broken Weave introduces extended tests. Extended tests require you to make multiple tests and track your progress. They are most often used during downtime, but the GM may use them elsewhere as the needs arise. Group tests. Cool. New actions called Shot, Charge, Seize the Initiative, Shove, how healing works, death saving throw. Oh, at the end of the turn, while critically injured, you must make a death saving throw. Unlike other saving throws, you do not apply any bonuses. If you gain 3 successes, you are stabilized. When you fail your 3rd death save throw, you die. You gain successes and failures in any order. They need not be consecutive. I need to look up if death saving throws stick around. Last Stand. In the darkest moments, some people choose to make the greatest sacrifice for their allies, transcending from survivor to hero. If you are critically injured, you can declare that you are making a last stand. You must do this at the start of your turn. When do so, the following happens. You are no longer critically injured. I am no longer critically injured. You recover from any conditions you have. You are immune to all damage. You gain advantage on all tests. You deal double damage with all attacks and class features. At the end of the turn, you die. Nothing can prevent this death. Your sacrifice inspires your allies and become a thing of legend. The Haven gains hope equal to 1 plus the number of remaining party members. That's pretty cool. All right, big, long, extensive description on how decay works. Here's the memory lost. Okay, reducing decay. Yeah, I want to read that because it doesn't happen often. Despite its seemingly relentless nature, decay can be slowed and even eradicated entirely. Fostering hope, building a community, or purifying a creature with Moonstone can completely eradicate a creature or location's decay, reducing it to 0. Moonstone. These rare chunks of iridescent stone fall from the broken moon and have the power to absorb a limited amount of decay. A fist-sized chunk of moonstone can reduce a survivor's decay by 1 before transforming it into an inert, dull rock. Okay. Same thing for hope. Big, long, extensive. How it works. Having a crisis. Havens are constantly under threat from the dangers of the broken world. Titans threaten to crush them underfoot. Raiders lay siege to their walls, and plagues of unknown origin decimate their people. Whenever a danger arises that could destroy a haven, the GM declares that the haven is in crisis. The haven remains in crisis until the survivors can resolve the crisis or until the haven is destroyed. For some reason, it reminds me of like Sim City, where the aliens come and start attacking. Okay, so it damages your haven. The population goes down. A haven's population is akin to a survivor's hit points. The resources are like temporary hit points. You should always be cautious of using all of your haven's resources, as it leaves the haven defenseless. Think about whether that new sword is worth the lives of your friends and family. Ooh, that's cool. Travel and hazards. Oh, I am running out of time. Stage 1, set the route. All right, I'm not going to be able to go over this. Assign roles. Group travel test. Group travel test. Lots of tests. Make preparations. Consult the elders. Recruit help. Brew tonics. Pack up. Prepare a feast. Procure mounts. Like, it's a big deal to leave your haven. Make the journey. Encounters. Oh, I love that. Journey encounters. A beacon, a discovered trail, a majestic sight, obstruction. Great GM tools. Effects of decay. Fall back. The world around you flows backwards in a blur. Your party moves backwards in time based on the area's decay. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Dang. Time dilation. So cool. All right. Encounters. Gives you descriptions of those on that table. Awesome. When you arrive at where you're going, what can happen? Hazards along the way, corrosive mists, a labyrinth, moonfall, oppressive gloom, razor shine, rift in space, silencing, spore fall, violent storm. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, that's going to make travel much more dynamic. Crisis. I do not have much time. My recording software is limited to 2 hours. I think I mentioned that. Time. Okay, yeah. Oh, jeez. 130 pages left. Let's go up to the table of contents. Those are the highlights. So, travel, passage of time, storytelling. Let's go to, okay, the broken world. They give you good explanation of what the breaking is, what the world is like, daily life. Ooh. And they give you places. Is there a map? Oh, I would love a map. That might be too much. The broken world. Quick skim through here. The breaking, after the breaking, like I said, I have not done a lot of setting books, but like this is what you want. Oh, that's that art. See, that's probably a fallen god. And then there's a haven built around it. Yeah, so cool. A map, maybe a map exists, I'm not sure. Okay. But they give you all of these locations. I'm gonna guess it's like 12 to 15. Adventures and stories, artifacts, that would be cool to check out. The broken ecosystem. Survivors, flora, fauna, titans, monsters. Okay, let's go to arcane artifacts real quick. Bowl of Plenty. Oh, these are what the Havens had found. Death March armor. These are like, they help you, but they hurt you at the same time. They can cause decay. Okay, yeah, that's that. Got it. Let's go to monsters. Is it like stat blocks and stuff? Yeah, okay. A Blight Claw, Crucible. This is what elves turn into. I think that's what halflings turn into. I could be wrong. That was gross looking, though. A husk is what humans turn into. Oh, Mother Caring? That's creepy. I'm going to do a quick search for zombies here. A Scythe? Maybe that's what halflings were. A Secret Keeper? What the heck is that? Oh, yeah, there's this thing. A Shrieking Horror? A CR3? That seems pretty low. Gross, whatever that was. Just birds eating an eyeball. It's cool. A Weeper. Gross. All right, these big titans. Now, since I'm running out of time, I can't get into major detail, but if I did mention this in a previous episode, it was for a campaign where I'm wanting to run that has like movie monsters in it. Xenomorphs, Predator, the worms from Tremors. Ooh, a Rotbringer. That's cool. And I wanted to like reskin these titans as they were like the titans of the biomes. Oh, not that many titans. And all right. If I get lucky, zombie. No results. Map. Chart a course. Map. No. No map. Okay. All right. And then last thing was I was sent this adventure, the Titans March. If you get the Broken Weave, this must come with it. Is an adventure for Broken Weave in which a titan, a colossal monster on the scale of a natural disaster, threatens to annihilate the party's haven. The survivors must act quickly to uncover the titan's secrets and discover a way to stop it before it's too late. In their journey, they will experience firsthand the devastation the titan leaves in its wake and may discover the tragedy of its origins. If any of this I've said, if you're in the flavor and the mindset of grim, dark horror, post-apocalyptic fantasy, probably most accurately, definitely check out The Broken Weave. I am excited about this. I think, as I've mentioned a couple times, I'm not a huge setting guy. This is a lot for me to process. The crafting systems, the new rules, new classes. I am pretty jacked on it. I think it's pretty awesome. So the PDF was around $25. The book was $55 plus shipping. For me, I'm excited about it. I think it's worth every penny. And there you go. There's my extensive look at The Broken Weave. Show you the cover here as we close on out. The Broken Weave. The gods have died. Survive, build community, and fight for hope in a post-apocalyptic tragic fantasy world. Keep being creative out there. See you in the next episode. Later.